3, 2, 1. The button up above the camera says, we are live. We better be. That's what Jonathan said. RJ's here helping out today. So I think we're live, folks. Episode number 109. I got ahead of myself last week. I said that was episode 109. It was really number 108. So sorry about that. But anyhow, we're doing Elk Talk Live. And coming up real quickly are the Montana deadline and the Colorado deadline. The Montana deadline is April 1st, and the Colorado deadline is April 6th. And today was the New Mexico deadline, but I think it closed at 5 o'clock today. So if you haven't done New Mexico, I don't think you're going to get to. I'm looking at I got my Colorado regs right here, and it says the time is 8 p.m. Mountain Time, April 6th. Don't be sleeping at the switch. Whatever you do, you'll lose out. But anyhow, I want to thank GoHunt for making all this possible. If all these things we talk about interest you, you can get a whole lot more detail by going to GoHunt, signing up for their insider, and using promo code RANDY, and they'll give you a $50 gift card in their gear shop. How's that? Somebody asks, anybody draw in Arizona yet? Anyone's credit card get hit? Not mine. I think, when did we all think? They gave us the, hey, have your credit card updated, I think February 25th or something like that. So, not good. Uh-oh. Dylan just put out the good word here. He said, hey, there's a lot of grouse in Area 62 of Colorado. I've not hunted Unit 62 in Colorado, but it's now on my list. So, yeah. What else we got? We got a whole bunch of questions that came in. We put them out there on Facebook and Instagram, and a lot of you already gave us these questions. I'm going to grab some of them just to get us started here. Randy is a non-resident with 0 points who wants to do a solo hunt. It can be cow or bull. What would be the best state to apply between Colorado, Montana, and Wyoming? I would say Wyoming if you're a rifle hunter. If you're an archery hunter, I'd say Montana. If you really don't care and you don't have points, Colorado is your fallback option because they usually have a lot of leftover cow tags and they have the over-the-counter rifle bull elk tags. Excuse me. They have their second and third season rifle bull elk tags as over-the-counter tags in Colorado. So if you're looking for a cow, you should draw. You're too late for the Wyoming deadline. Montana, a lot of our units, it's either antlerless or antlered. So just be in the draw before the April 1st deadline. And then Colorado is your fallback. So lots and lots of opportunity there, especially since you said you're willing to hunt cows. And I was talking to the crew the other day. I told them one of these years, I think I'm going to do the Rocky Mountain elk cow. It's not a trifecta. It might be a quadfecta or a pentafecta or whatever 4 or 5 is. Because I really, I scratch my head when I hear all these comments about, oh, it's only a cow, or, gee, I want cow, I can't believe you're cow hunting. Hunting cow elk to me is like right up there, high on the list. So I thought maybe I should do this, a cow elk hunt in Montana, one in Wyoming, one in Idaho, one in Colorado, and see if I can draw a cow tag in Arizona, Nevada, or Utah, and go cow elk hunting. And then maybe people will realize that I'm serious when I say that I think cow elk hunting is cool. Let's see. What was this one? Have I ever hunted elk east of I-25 in Colorado? I have not. I think that's an over-the-counter area also. I don't know if it's got much in the way of public access. Probably tough access there, but So let's grab another question. Jesus says, Randy, the New Mexico deadline closed at 5 p.m. today. Did you get your apps in? I did, but I only did an elk app. I didn't do antelope. I didn't do deer, none of the exotics. In fact, I almost did not even do elk. Just looking at how hard it is to draw in New Mexico, I was like, I might save my money for something else, but oh well. Here's an interesting one. When you're bow hunting elk, how important is it to hide behind trees and brush? Are they like whitetail, and as long as you are still, they don't see you? I missed getting 2 different elk over the years because I hid. The only 2 I've had a chance at. So, when you know an elk is coming in, you want to be out in front of that brush. Otherwise, how are you going to have a shot angle if you're hiding behind everything? I mean, maybe if you got a bush here and you know the elk is going to come there, you can draw and be turning. But if you got someone calling in an elk, you actually want to be on the front side of some obstruction. I mean, that obstruction is behind you. It's going to break up your outline. And it's going to give you a little more forgiveness. Hopefully the sun's at your back, or maybe even off to the side, but at least not right in your face. So it can be really important to be out in front of all that trees and brush. So let's see. I've been e-scouting elk in Montana. Okay. If I were to hunt opening day of archery season, which is always the Saturday of Labor Day weekend, should I be scouting for a summer feed pattern, or are they moved on by then? What would you recommend as far as elevation and type of food they eat at that time? Well, it depends on what part of Montana. If you're talking central Montana, they're going to be eating something different than if you're here in southwest Montana, or if you're way over in western Montana. Whatever it is they're feeding on, as a general rule, that first Saturday in September, they're not going to be over where you saw them feeding in August, July, whenever you might have seen them. They're now going to be closer to where the cows are feeding, and the cows are usually going to be feeding on the lusher forage. The bulls, you see them in July, they're usually up higher, and they're on forage that some might say is a little more marginal, or at least dries up quicker, turns brown quicker. The cows are usually going to be in the lusher, more green forage. So when the cows are, let's say if this is the mountain, the bulls might be here, the cows will be 2 miles around the other side and maybe lower. The bulls at that time you're describing are going to start moving over and staging within a mile or so of those cows. So there's a really good chance you won't see the ones that you saw if you were scouting on the ground, or even if you were e-scouting and you were looking for some type of food source that is more of a predominant summer food source. You want to find those food sources that they switch to as the mountain dries up, because in most areas of Montana and most areas of the Rockies, you got really lush stuff in June and July. They can feed pretty much anywhere. Come August, it starts turning brown. And when that starts turning brown, they start going to stuff that's a little less brown. They're looking for the greener stuff. So they start moving. They don't just eat the same thing all the time, even though they're grazers. They'll start on a certain type of plant that's succulent and good in early June, and they'll go to a different plant that starts its succession a little later, and they keep doing that. So you want to be thinking about what is it that represents the best elk food they have at the time you're looking for them. So let's see. The units I've hunted in Colorado were destroyed by last year's wildfires. In your experience, how long will it take for regrowth to attract elk back in the area during the hunting season? I would say in the 2021 hunting season, you're going to have elk back on, at least on the fringe of some of those burn areas. Maybe not right in the core, because it maybe, in understanding from what I read in the news reports, those were really big fires, probably burned really hot. So the core areas are going to probably take another year or two to really get much value. But there's a lot of these little fingers and corners and slopes that the fire just burns over the top of it. Fires create a lot of edges. In those areas along the edges, those elk will be there this hunting season, guaranteed. So I hunt those as the following year. And they'll just get better each year for the next 4 or 5 years. Let's see. What is my most memorable hunt to this day? Well, it wasn't my hunt. It was a hunt with my son, Matthew. That was for sure the first elk that he ever shot in the Missouri River Breaks. He was with me. My brother was with me. And we had a blast. And but my own personal hunt would probably be my caribou moose hunt up in the mountains of the Cassiar country of British Columbia that I did 2 years ago. Eric says, I got my stimulus money today. GoHunt is going to get some business soon. Well, save some of that money also for tag applications, right? But when you go to any of these companies, GoHunt and others, use promo code Randy and don't pay full retail, right? We never pay full retail. Like if you go to Gerber, right there, gerbergear.com, and you buy these knives, you save 20% when you use promo code Randy. Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, when you go to their website, you save 15% when you use promo code Randy. Canotrack, go to their site, they give you a $75 pair of gaiters when you do that. I mean, I'll give you some more as we go along here. Oh, Elkhorn Coffee Roasters, promo code Randy saves you 15% on orders over $30. I mean, the list is long, really, really long. And if they don't accept it, let me know. I'll call them and say, hey, you need to give my folks a discount. You know, they're good folks. I've got them trained to not pay full retail. We'll see what they say. Zeb is like, there are no elk here in Wyoming, just move along. That's always the sure sign that there are a lot of elk, and he knows where they're at. The Idaho guys are the worst at that. The Idaho guys are like, I haven't seen an elk in Idaho for 8 years. Let's see. Randy, would you burn 4 points on a limited entry Wyoming elk type 1 tag with difficult access without scouting that unit in person, or draw a leftover cow tag for the same unit to learn that unit without burning your points? You know, that might be a good idea. If you look at it and see that the access is that difficult, going out there cow elk hunting might be really, really good. I mean, good recon, the intel it'll give you some meat, and I would think hard about doing it that way. So, let's see what else we got. How's the trapping going? Oh man, we didn't catch much for muskrats this year, but out here in the parking lot, Marcus cooked up the beaver I caught, and then one of our buddies, Joel, who's a chef here in town, he cooked up the beaver tail, so we ate all that on Monday, right out here in the parking lot. We had the birch barrel out, and yeah, it worked out really, really good. So when I get some time here, and I'd say probably in the first half of April, I bought a bunch more beaver traps. I'm going on a serious beaver trapping mission. And talked to a landowner today and asked him, I said, you got a beaver problem? He's like, I always got a beaver problem. I was wondering if you were coming out here this year. So I haven't been out to his place for about 3 years. Probably going to be a lot of beaver getting taken. So have I ever applied for elk in California? No, I haven't. But today I want to talk a little bit about Colorado. In case you haven't seen our Colorado draw application video, understand that Colorado is a true preference point system, right? The person with the most points is going to get the tag. But there's some good parts to that. Some of the hunts, like the archery hunts, a lot of those take 0 or 1 point. And then they've got the second and third rifle seasons in, I think it's 90 plus units on the west half of the state, where you can just go buy your tag. You don't even have to draw. So a strategy is you apply in Colorado, you're building points, and every year you're just buying this over-the-counter tag and you're going out there elk hunting anyhow. How's that? That's the way I do it. And in Colorado, know that all their muzzleloader hunts are on draw, all their archery hunts are on draw, all their first and fourth rifle hunts are on draw. So it requires that you got to be paying attention a little bit. So don't miss that April 6th deadline. You have to pay, I think by the time you pay for your small game license and some other stamp, you're into it about $95 of non-refundable costs. And go do it. Last year, I hunted Colorado on a unit. I had 3 points. Some people drew it with 2. And I had a great hunt. Went back in there with some of Bo's llamas and shot a nice bull. Opening morning, he was still bugling. I'm like, that's what I was looking for. So if you can do that, think about it. I mean, it's a really good opportunity where you can go elk hunting every year. There's really no reasons not to. Let's see. Hey, Randy, I know you used the 308. Yeah, it's 308 right here. But what about one with a shorter barrel? Yep, I've shot right back there is one with a 20-inch barrel. It says, I have a scout style with an 18.5-inch barrel. Great backcountry rifle, but I lose some velocity compared to a 22 to 24-inch barrel. Am I good to go for elk? Yes, you're good to go for elk. I shoot 165 grain Nosler AccuBones. Yep, you're good to go. My 20-inch barrel, I compared it to my 308s that had 22-inch barrels, and I was, the variance, and sometimes you don't even know if this is just the ammo, but it was like 10 feet per second difference. I mean, we're talking like hardly anything as different, so. Would picking up a cow elk tag with a general deer tag in Montana be worth it? Where you're probably going to be having your best general deer hunting is not where the good elk hunting is. If you come to the western and southwestern part of the state where the better elk hunting is, the deer hunting is not nearly as good. So if money's not an issue, I wouldn't, I'd do it. But if you're trying to get the most value, I'd think twice about it. Let's see. When hunting elk, over-the-counter elk in Colorado, do I change my strategy due to heavy hunting pressure? Yes, you have to take into consideration hunting pressure. And in Colorado, on the over-the-counter hunts, you are going to have hunting pressure. That's just part of the equation. So if you if you're not accustomed to hunting pressure, those hunts aren't for you. But you got to just take it into consideration. Do you think Fresh Tracks TV shows too much background to where you are hunting such that people flood the area? I don't know. I don't think so. We usually are pretty good about it. Ask these guys who edit it. It's got to be run by whoever was hunting to say, hey, is this too revealing? I mean, we take it into consideration. But also, if you recognize the background, it means you're probably hunting there. So it's not like some new person is like, oh, I recognize that. How would they recognize it if they've never been there? A lot of times we're in general or limited entry units. So good luck getting the tag. And I'll be honest with you, a ton of people go out on the internet and say where we're hunting, and they find out because they see us out there, or they file a Freedom of Information request on our public land film permits. And those public land film permits tell you exactly where we were at, where we were camped, everything. So hundreds of people do that. Yeah, that's how they scout. They seek our public land film permits. So there's no secrets in what we do. I wish there was, but there isn't. So I guess everyone's going to have a different opinion about whether or not we show too much information also. Let's see, what else? Mystery Ranch backpacks. Go to the GoHunt. Oh, if you go to the GoHunt gear shop, here's all the things you can save 10% on with promo code Randy. Your Mystery Ranch backpack, black gold archery sights, tight spot quivers, ripcord rests, all kinds of other stuff. Tents, sleeping bags. Just go there. If you're doing your shopping, do it there and save money. And when you go there and buy optics from Leupold, sometimes you can sneak it in your cart and they'll give you the 10% discount with Randy. But a lot of times for optics, you got to use promo code DQ. And you get 5% off your optics. So, let's see. Let's see. Who's the guy with Randy selling all those hunting spots on Facebook? Probably. That's probably the next thing. Someone will do all of our film permits and sell them sell the information or something. If someone does that, don't pay for it. You can get it for free yourself. Let's see, what is that one? For Colorado, late October, 6,000 feet. Is there a measurable difference between Canotrack and any non-leather boots? You know, I can't really tell you because I don't use non-leather boots. So I wouldn't, to tell you if there's a difference, I'd have to use the other, and I don't. So, are the good old days of public do-it-yourself elk hunting behind us? The way states are cracking down on non-resident tags and making it harder to draw seemingly every couple years. I don't think so. I think if you put your mind to it, the good old days are here. And they have been for the last 10 years. And some will disagree with me on that, and I get it. But I know of places where, even if I didn't live in Montana, I would never go a year without elk hunting. Sometimes it might be a cow elk, but right now I know how to go cow elk hunting every year, or bull elk hunting every year. And even if I didn't live in Montana, there's times in states where I could get, 2 or 3 bull elk tags in a year. So, did I put in for Wyoming elk? Yep, I did. Is a 186-inch mule deer good for a Wyoming general tag? It's good for any state in any tag in any state. I don't see those kind of deer, but I know people do, and that's probably because I'm not very good. So somebody says, why would you eat wolf meat? That was disgusting. It's amazing what some people will do for fame. I trap up to 50 wolves a year and they're nasty creatures. Okay, then don't eat them, okay? It was actually really good. And if I shoot something, I trap something, in Montana we have a salvage tag we can get. If I want to eat it, I'm going to eat it. So calm down. Okay? It's none of your, why would you care if I decided to eat a wolf? And I didn't do it for fame. I did it because that's what I do with things, especially if they intrigue me and I want to see how they taste. So now, every wolf I shoot, I'm going to eat. So Brian, if it bothers you, change the channel, okay? We're good. Man. Why would somebody worry about that? It's like, oh well. Let's see. Have I ever hunted elk in Washington? I have not. Randy, please talk about the ammo shortage. Has it affected you? Yeah, it has. Nosler called me a few months ago and said, hey, if you need ammo for October, you better get your order in now. So I think it's going to affect all of us. When you got 7 million new gun owners, and I don't know how many boxes of ammo each of them are buying. Hard to say. But say they each buy 2 boxes, holy smokes, that's 14 million new rounds of ammo. And then you take the folks who are hoarding it. I was just out in Bend, Oregon last week with the Nosler people. They are working absolutely nonstop all day long. It's crazy how many hours they're working trying to keep up. But 3 points for Wyoming elk next year. how are my chances, or should I wait? Your chances are really good for the general tag. I'd apply for it and I'd go. Has Arizona done their draw yet? I don't know if they've done their draw. They haven't hit our credit cards, that's for sure. I'm waiting. Come on. I'm waiting. I need that. So, Randy, what's your main goal on opening day? Do you want to get to the highest glassing knob? What's your strategy? Depends on if it's opening day of archery, opening day of rifle. It'll depend on a whole lot of things, what the weather is, what the hunting pressure is. Is it a general unit? Is it a unit that is, limited entry, so the pressure's not that great? What time of season is it? Because if it's November, yeah, I'm going to get to a glassing knob I've already picked out. But if it's early October, I'm not going to get there to a glassing knob. I'm going to be out there in the dark calling already and moving, call and move, call and move. So let's see. Will I be at the POMA conference? I will not. That's Professional Outdoor Media Association. Yeah, someone's like, why are you telling people to put in for elk in Wyoming? We keep telling you there aren't any here. Would I rather hunt with a big group of people or solo? If those are the two options, I'd go solo versus a big group. But I would rather hunt with one other person. That's my preference. Whether it's family member, friend, whatever. I enjoy the camaraderie. And with this point, at this point in my life, who I hunt with and the locations I hunt, the landscapes I hunt on, are really, really important to me. Randy, how good are the Little Belt Mountains in Montana for elk? They're above objective in elk numbers. They're way above objective in hunter numbers. So you're going to see where there are elk there, but there's a lot of hunting pressure in the Little Belts. So let's see. Joshua says his 10-year-old Ruger is watching this show with me. And he asked, how old was Randy when Randy started elk hunting? That would have been my first elk tag. I would have been 27 because I didn't grow up in elk country. So thanks for watching, Ruger. If you get busted by an elk, is it better to not move and let them spook or start moving as if you did not see that elk at all? What's the least alarming to the elk? If you're busted, I have yet to find a good place or a good strategy. It seems like, seems like either way you're out of luck. But I would say try it and see what happens. What is the best way to get dried blood off the lens of your Leupold scope? A little bit of water and a lens pen, and I don't have a lens pen with me. But don't rub it with your t-shirt, don't anything like that. If you can, put some water on there so that the blood rehydrates, and then Leupold, all kinds of companies make those little lens pens. Those are the best way to get, that is the best way to get it off there. Let's see. What is your deciding factor to rifle hunt or archery hunt each year in a state? A big part of it is my schedule. A big part of it is whether that state's better as an archery state or a rifle state. Like my home state of Montana is way better as an archery state than it is a rifle state. So I told the crew this year, in September, we're not applying for elk tags anywhere else. We have amazing elk hunting right here in our backyard in September. Now, the rifle hunting here is not as good because weather and hunting pressure push the elk lower, which means more private land, means they're harder to get to. So it just depends on which state it is. Like the rifle hunts in some of the states are really good rifle hunts based on the timing, based on the fact there's not a lot of hunting pressure. So those are the things that go through my mind. Let's see. Should I buy a Montana bonus point for mule deer? If so, how do I go about buying a bonus point? I think, did we release the Montana application video yet? Or is it scheduled to be released? Anyhow, we go through all that, and we did a YouTube video called Montana Application Strategies. Go watch that because it's really complicated. It's not something that I'm going to spend all the time explaining right here. Would I rather hunt post-rut or pre-rut? Pre-rut, just because the elk are way easier to find in the pre-rut than they are in the post-rut. There's a reason that elk, most states have their elk seasons, their rifle elk seasons in the post-rut stage. Because post-rut elk are the hardest elk to kill by far. So they can put a lot more people in the field knowing that the harvest success is much lower, therefore the impact on the resource is much lower. So where's one of these other ones? You guys are really coming up with a lot of good questions today. This is good stuff. Do you use any scent control items such as storing your clothes in a scent crusher closet or any scent eliminating bags? Nope. I've said this many times. I think when it comes to elk hunting in the mountains, you are wasting your time worrying too much about all that scent stuff. Because the minute you start hiking, you're stinking the place up, you're sweating, your hair is sweaty, your breath, your everything. So, and if you think about the rationale of why someone uses scent control items, in most instances, it's because, well, if the animal gets downwind of me. My experience is with an elk, if they get downwind of you, the gig's over. So it forces me to be super disciplined to make sure that I stay downwind of the elk. So I don't use any, and I probably never will. Now someone's going to say, look, I walked right up to this elk. It's pretty easy. Why don't you do that? And I'll say, well, the shows what little I know. Oh, a bunch of people must have listened to our podcast we released today about how to become a legislative advocate. Glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening to that. I hate getting into politics, but as I said in that podcast, it's getting to be more and more a necessity. And if we're going to be elk hunters, we got to be advocates. And to be an advocate anymore, you got to understand how politics works. Do I have a preference for size or type of pack for elk? Looking to get my first good pack, but having trouble figuring out how to choose carrying storage methods. I use, and it's no secret, everyone knows I use Mr. Inch packs. And for elk, the smallest I'd probably go is a Metcalf. I would go a little smaller, but if I want the full versatility of doing overnight hunts and stuff, go with the Metcalf. It'll compress really flat and it'll expand to carry more than you'll probably ever want to carry. So that's kind of my thought on packs. I want something that's going to compress flat, be a great day pack, but yet allow me to carry more than my old body wants to carry. And that's what I've found. If I could choose one state to hunt for the rest of my life, what state would I hunt? Oh man, probably Wyoming. If for resident, Wyoming treats its resident hunters better than any state out there. It's remarkable. And if my wife and I weren't so buried in here, so tied to Bozeman, Montana for the last 30 years, I wouldn't hesitate at all to pull my stakes and move to Wyoming. So, oh, let's see. Someone says that their 3-year-old asked him, you want to watch Pokemon or you want to watch Fresh Tracks on Amazon? He said he wanted to watch Fresh Tracks. Oh man, what do I owe that kid? I hope I bump into him at Dairy Queen or her. That is so cool. Will I be attending any sports shows this year yet? Next week, not this weekend, the weekend after, I'll be in Portland. I was in Bend last weekend. I'll be at the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation's Mountain Summit in Park City. Mountain Ops is putting on an elk event in Utah, end of June. I'll be there. So, yeah. Ted, man, you're ratting me out here. My mom watched this last week after I said this. So Ted Hendricks says, hey, Randy, I know you were supposed to be seeing your doctor for your post-COVID problems last week. What is your prognosis? Well, my mom was watching. She called in a frazzle, thinking I was tipping over and dying or something. So the prognosis is I got to go to the cardiologist tomorrow, and hopefully they'll have a prognosis. Let's see. What was that one? Oh, there we go. I was looking for it. How do you acclimate for altitude before season? You know, if you live somewhere at a lower elevation, that's definitely a challenge, and I don't know how you do it. I've heard people say, you know, I tried one of those altitude machines or whatever you call it. I don't know what it is, like an oxygen deprivation machine. I don't know if they work or not, but for me, I'm lucky. I live here at 5,000 feet in Montana, so if I go from 5 to 8,000, it's not that big of a change for me. And once we get into our hunting, we're starting to do a whole lot of hunting at 7, 8, 9,000 feet. And so when you start doing that every, you know, 2 weeks out of every month, you get acclimated pretty quickly. So. I'm not answering that one. Let's see. Glad you're coming to Utah. Try to talk some sense into our game and fish while you're here. They're not going to listen to me, I'm sure of that. Hey Randy, I'm going to be in Bozeman in October. Will those 3 boxes of ammo still be on your desk when I get there? I doubt it, because we're running short of ammo around here. Any turkey hunting? But a lot of turkey comments today. No, I'm not going turkey hunting. Oh wait, RJ, you're going turkey hunting, aren't you? Jess is going turkey hunting. Dale, Marcus, Michael, Jonathan and I, we're going bear hunting. We're hunting black bear. Is that what we're doing, Jonathan? I rented the cabin. Okay, he says we're good. This is a good point. Aaron says, I live at sea level and I hunt at 11,000 feet. You just suffer and you feel like you are dying. That's probably true. And the only thing I would add to that is be careful. I mean, altitude sickness is not something to screw around with. It's for real, and it could be problematic if you don't take note of that. So most people would say, when you do that, you know, he's going from sea level to 11,000. Go to some intermediate level if you can and acclimate at 8,000 or 9,000 for a day or two. So that, I mean, if you go there and you just start exerting yourself, your risks of having a serious problem related to altitude sickness go way up. And it's going to ruin your hunt if you get it, if not worse. So, have I ever archery hunted elk and rifle hunted for bear at the same time? I have not. I guess I wonder if I could do that in Montana. I'm trying to remember when our rifle bear season starts. Huh. I've not done that. Let's see. I wonder if anyone has any specific Montana questions. All the Montana questions I'm getting tonight have a political slant to them because our legislature's in session and they're trying to screw up elk hunting. I don't know how many bills we have. These aren't all introduced bills, but draft bills, some of which have already been introduced. We had almost 200 drafted bills that affect hunting in Montana. I'm like, I had no idea that hunting was that bad in Montana, that we needed that many things fixed. But evidently there's people in the legislature who think we do. Oh, if you want to save 10% on a Yeti cooler, I think you can do that at GoHunt gear shop also. Bowtech bows, you got to buy those from a dealer. I'm going to get in trouble for this. This is my Revolt from last year, and now I have a Solution, a Revolt, a Realm. You got to go to a pro shop. That's how Bowtech sells their bows, but a bunch of people have asked, what's my setup? Regardless of what model it is, I have a bum right shoulder and a bum left wrist. So like this one they've set at 61 pounds. I shoot 61 to 62 pounds. My draw length is 29 inches. And normally I'm getting, with a 500 grain total arrow setup, I'm getting about 248 to 250 feet per second. So I got to get this one set up. This is going to be my backup bow this year. I bring a backup bow, but I've never needed it. Knock on wood. I hope it stays that way. That would be bad news. I wonder if anyone watching has ever needed their backup bow on a hunt. Oh, Montana question. First time archery elk hunt this fall. Any tips on units 103 and 104? Oh man, I would, if I was you, unless you've got some really amazing inside thing there, I would go check out what the harvest stats are in those two units. They are probably the lowest harvest rates of all of Montana. So my comment would be, and I say this somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but if you're coming here as a non-resident and you're doing all this, I would, and you're incurring the money and the time and everything away, I'd think long and hard about looking elsewhere, to different units, because those are general units. You'll have a general tag if you do it. You can go to a lot of places. Let's see. Can I briefly describe the different strategy in the first week of rifle versus the last week of rifle? Yes, I can. The first week of rifle in Montana, just like a lot of states, is in the post-rut period. So it's going to be October 23rd through 26th. The bulls have left the cows at that point for the most part. There might be a few spikes or young raghorns in with the cows still, but they're mostly solo at this point, and they have left for the purpose of, you know what, I know what time of year it is, I want to survive. So they're going in there, and the weather's still not super cold. There's not a lot of snow that's covered up the forage. So they can make a living in a really small area by just coming out the last 20 minutes of the afternoon, you know, just last 20 minutes of shooting light. And when they're out at night, in the morning, they aren't out for 15 or 20 minutes before they're heading for their beds. And the bulls are usually solo at this time. Now you get to the last week of season, which is always the week of Thanksgiving. Now they're in late season period, and now the bulls are bachelored up into bigger groups, anywhere from 2 to 8 in a group. The temperatures are colder, the snow has covered up a lot of the feed, so they have to feed a lot more. So they're gonna be out longer in the morning, and they're going to come out earlier in the afternoon. So those are the two big differences about how that happens between the first week in Montana and the last week in Montana. And the reason being, you're talking about a post-rut period versus a late season period. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Let's see. Who gave the thumbs down on YouTube? There are some people who give a thumbs down. If we did a video about Mother Teresa saving starving children from their death, there's 3 people who email me and say, I give a thumbs down on everything you do. Cool, knock yourself out. Mike Mulligan, Montana question. Morgan wants to know where she can shoot a bull this archery season. GPS coordinates would work just fine. Be careful. In our old TV show, we gave GPS coordinates, and Marcus does, you can tell when Marcus edits an episode. What does he call these Easter eggs? When he shows his GPS or something, he goes in and physically messes with what the GPS coordinates are. Because people will be like, they'll freeze the screen and they'll scratch down the coordinates and they'll go look at it and it's a Walmart parking lot or something. So be careful, Mike, if you get anything from us. Montana draw. Can a non-resident with 2 preference points draw? Yes, in the last 10 years, 2 preference points was 100% draw rate. So hopefully it stays that way for you this year. Let's see. Mother Teresa was known to take money from Albanian gangsters, so that's a pretty good example. Oh, that is funny. I'm going to have to start using a different example, I guess. Let's see what else we got. All right, someone says their Big Hank coffee is arriving tomorrow. Promo code Randy for the win. There you go. Troy asks, okay, why are Montana units 103 and 104 the lowest success rates? Too steep, too many grizzlies? Let me have all the details. It's all those things and such super low elk numbers. It's got the lowest elk densities in the state. So that's the biggest reason why. Let's see. How bad will point creep be in Wyoming this year? I don't know. It's like every other state, probably going to bump up again, jump up again. So how many wolves can you take each year in Montana? 5. I see someone just said in Idaho they bumped it, you can take 30 a year. Wonder if anyone's going to fill that many tags. Good luck with that. There's probably some trapper who can pull it off, but let's see. Got to be some more here that aren't. I don't talk a lot about cartridges. Every once in a while I'll grab a question that's about cartridges, but those cartridges are kind of like the Ford, Chevy, Dodge argument, you know, the Toyota, Nissan argument, whatever. Mostly with cartridges, all these questions that have been asked. We did a video out there called Selecting an Elk Cartridge. Find the cartridge within that range of quality bullet, or quality cartridges that have quality bullets, and take the one that you shoot the best, call it good. If you hit them in the right spot, I mean, a good shot, whether it's a 338 or a 7mm 08, that elk's not going anywhere. So spend less money or less time worrying about that and more time practicing and getting everything dialed in, and you'll be way better off. Let's see. Can a Canadian come and hunt in Montana? Yes, we treat you like all other non-residents. I entered code Randy and saved 30% on my truck insurance. There you go. Geico, yeah, right. I bet. If they're accepting promo code Randy, they aren't sending me any commissions. Do the Montana deer and elk seasons mix together in Montana? Yes, in Montana we have 6 weeks of archery that starts the Saturday of Labor Day, runs for 6 weeks. We give them a 5-day break, and then we got 5 weeks of rifle that closes the day the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So, let's see. Where is a good site to look up elk herd numbers for Montana? It's hard to find on the Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks website, but it's out there if you want to snoop around. The easiest place to find it is GoHunt. That's one of the benefits of GoHunt, is it's all right there at your fingertips. Makes it so much easier. One of the things is, you know, a lot of these questions, we go into a much deeper dive. When I say we, I should say Corey, but he's asking me to do more and more stuff. And this year, you're going to see us produce additional content for Corey Jacobson's. It's called the University of Elk Hunting. And if you go out to his University of Elk Hunting course and you sign up and you do use promo code Randy, I think he gives you $20 off that course. So go out there. It is definitely worth it. I think I've done the Postrut and late season module for him, and he's asked me to do a whole bunch of stuff this year. So I've told the guys, we got a lot of video to produce. If you really want to get a ton of content, I mean content that is as good as you're going to find with as deep of an analysis of so many of these questions, go to Corey's course. It's worth it. New Mexico is in a bad drought. Yeah, so is Arizona. I know that you guys each got a little bit of moisture here a few weeks ago, but darn, I don't like seeing that drought the way it is. It would not be, what would I say this? It would not be the best year to have your elk tag in Arizona or New Mexico, but even their less than good years are still really good. So, what's the best recipe for tag soup? I don't know. I got a whole pile of them on my desk at home. I'm thinking of taking a picture of it. It is such a big mound anymore. It's like, that represents an awful lot of money. So, let's see. Yes, a bunch of people are asking about the book Elk of North America, Ecology and Management. Yes, it's out of print. The folks at the Wildlife Management Institute have asked me to quit promoting it. But if you do go there and email them, you should say, hey, why don't you license the publication rights to this book to Randy Newberg? Because I've told them, if you'll license the rights to me, I'll get it put in a digital format. I'll do something, because it's such a great resource for elk hunting, and now we can't get it because it's out of print. So, okay. Someone says 200,000 subscribers coming soon. Are you going to have a big giveaway? We already shot the video. Do you know when that's going to go up, RJ?
We're trying to time it for the actual day.
Oh, we're trying to get it out there for the day when we're like ready to clear the hurdle. Yeah, that book, Jonathan just put it up there on Amazon. It costs a small fortune out on Amazon because you're just buying used ones, and they got you over a barrel. But the 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, we're going to do that. GoHunt gave us 5 gift cards of $200 each to use in their gear shop. So we're giving away $1,000 of gift cards to the GoHunt gear shop for our celebration of hitting 200,000 subscribers. So that's a pretty big deal for us. You know, we don't go out and quote unquote buy subscribers like some folks do. I want to make sure everything we do is organic. So we're also getting ready to when's our survey going to go out, you think, RJ? A couple weeks? In a couple weeks, we're doing a survey. And here's what we're asking, and people here may not be interested, but when you see it, hopefully you'll take the survey. we get a lot of people who ask for a subscription model. Not that we'd ever quit all of our free stuff. I mean, we'll always have this free stuff, like YouTube and, Amazon. If you're a Prime subscriber, you get our videos there for free. Our podcasts are free, blah, blah, blah. We'll never change that. But some people would like to have a subscription model because, one, no ads. Two, it's all in one spot. And for our purposes, we're looking at this saying we already get demonetized. YouTube will put a little yellow thing next to one of our videos on our back end. And that means you're not getting paid for this video because it has firearms or it has the word kill or hunt or something that one of their reviewers doesn't like. So same goes for Facebook. So one of the thoughts is, how do we lessen our dependence on the big technology platforms? So adding that as another feature, if somebody is interested in going that way, it's something we're doing a survey on to see how many people are actually interested. So, have I ever hunted Unit 415 in Montana? I have not. Arizona, someone says, public service announcement. We ran out of elk in Arizona. You guys, that's like absolute code word for we got a lot of elk and I know where they're at, is exactly what you're saying when you do that. But it's funny. If you started over with your son, what states would you focus for short-term and long-term as your application strategy? I don't know. I don't know that I would do anything different for him. I would have done some things differently with myself because I started in 1995 with all of these out-of-state applications, and I made some mistakes in not having a good short-term, mid-term, and long-term strategy. So, but by the time he got old enough to hunt, I'd learned those mistakes and figured it out. Randy, do you ever hunt the block management or any of the private properties with public access in Montana? No, because block management does not allow commercial activity, and I don't think they should allow commercial activity. We're a commercial activity. Block management is for the rank and file average hunter to go out there and hunt. I don't think an outfit like us should be there competing with them. So we stay away from block management properties. Good program, but we don't do it. So how do we get in on the gift card giveaway? Well, all you got to do is there's going to be a video that gets posted that'll tell you all the rules, and you need to be a subscriber first and foremost. And I can't tell all the goods here. Just watch for the video when it comes out. It's pretty easy. The guy from Wyoming says, you all folks should check out the elk hunting in Florida. Straight or angled spotting scope. Since the crew does all of the phone scoping and I don't, they use angled spotting scopes because it's easier to do the phone scoping with an angled scope. I like the straight scope. Now, if I was sheep hunting and I was always looking uphill all the time, then I would want an angled spotter, not a straight spotter. Let's see. Do I take a first aid and trauma kit with when we hunt? Yes, we do. That's why people say, why does your pack look so heavy? Well, I got those kind of things in there because as the employer, if something went snare wire and I didn't have what I thought was reasonable to try address the situation out there, I'd feel really, really terrible. Let's see. What's the best first-time novice hunter state to hunt? Colorado. Because you can go there year after year. You can make mistakes. There's lots of elk there. A lot of hunting pressure, but that's where I'd go. Because you don't have to wait forever to draw a tag. Do I have a discount code for Sitka gear? No, Sitka doesn't do promo codes. I'd like them to. I'm working on them, but we'll see if we can ever get them to do that. But someone says, please keep doing your trapping. Well, thanks. I intend to do that. I grew up trapping. And if you watch some of our videos, you'll often hear me say that trapping was probably the most educational experience or activity that I took part in that taught me about animals. I mean, trapping is, you got to know your stuff. You got to be able to read sign. You have to anticipate where they're going to travel, what they're going to do, how they're going to use the wind. And you're trying to get an animal to come into a spot that big. This isn't like, oh, I'll get within 300 yards and shoot. Or I'll call them in to 30 yards and I'll shoot. That's not trapping. Trapping is like getting them right there. So trapping is the most formative thing in my life as it comes to my understanding of wild places and how the wild things use those wild places. So I get my share of hate mail about trapping, but you know what? I'm proud of the fact of what it meant to me and my family and the community I grew up in, and I don't shy away from it. So, have I ever hunted Unit 411 in Colorado? No, I don't think anyone's even listed a unit this week that I've ever hunted. That's unusual. Normally people rattle off some that I've hunted, but so cow elk in Arizona is the best. Yes, it is. My buddy Wade, he gets a cow elk tag every year. I think once out of the last 10 years he didn't draw his cow elk tag, and he shoots a cow every year. So, thoughts on the Utah hunting dates, specifically rifle hunting the rut? Well, it's like a lot of things. If you're gonna put hunters in the field with that effective of a weapon when the elk are that vulnerable, expect the success rates to be off the charts. And therefore, you can't give away as many tags when you are exploiting the resource to that high of success rates. You would end up way over harvesting. So, but I'm a non-resident in New Mexico, so it doesn't really matter what I do or what I think. It's up to the citizens of Utah. Did I say New Mexico? Anyhow, I'm a non-resident of all the other states. So what they decide to do is up to them, and I'll deal with it. I'll figure it out. So you folks manage your states however it is, and I'll be thankful for any tag I get. What's the farthest ever rifle shot and bow shot? Not very far. I think the longest I've ever shot something with my bow was 43 yards. That was a bison. No, I take that back. I did shoot a mule deer in Nevada one time at about 50. Perfect broadside, everything felt perfect. But most of my shots, I only have a 40-yard pin now. I used to have a 50-yard pin. So I don't take very long shots. Rifle hunting, I shot a bull one time at 412 yards, I think it was. But most of my elk are shot at 120 to 250 yards. I hunt to get closer, not to get further away. So it's just the way I like to do it. Let's see, where's the best place to get an over-the-counter cow elk tag? Over-the-counter, a lot of states they're not over-the-counter, they're leftovers. The best place to get a leftover cow elk tag is probably Colorado. Montana, I mean, sometimes we have those B tags, which are cow elk tags, and sometimes we have leftovers there. So, let's see. Two questions. When looking at success rates, how do you take into account private land success impacting that data? I do consider it if I can figure it out. 2, archery Colorado, what week to prioritize with full moon being peak rut? I always go later. I would rather go later and try have cooler weather, even if I got to deal with a full moon, because I'm probably going to get better rutting activity than to go earlier. So when in doubt, I always go later. The thing that has messed me up more than anything with archery elk hunting has been hot weather. So let's see. Dale asks, have I hunted Unit 16A in New Mexico? Twice. So let's see. That was a long time ago, though. You guys, you're way too funny. How do I mix cow calling and bugling in the prime rut? I don't mix it that much. I bugle more than anything. I will do some cow calling. Corey has taught me, you know, Randy, every once in a while you might want to do a cow call before you light up that bugle, because if you're walking through the woods with the wind in your face, there might be a bull not too far away. And he'll probably respond better if he hears a cow call 300 yards away than if he hears a bugle. So I kind of have taken that. I mean, he's killed a lot of elk with his bow, so why not? Oh, have I hunted Unit 51 in New Mexico? I've not, but I've helped 3 tag holders in there. So we got to have one more really good one before we let the fans go. Just know, all these companies that make this possible, all this stuff you see scrolling down at the bottom of the screen, use promo code Randy. Thank them for making all this content free. And when in doubt, go to the GoHunt gear shop and just use promo code Randy there. First, you'll get the best price that they have, and you'll get a discount. So, no, I'm not answering that one. I won't. Oh, spoiler alert. Next week, it's my wife's birthday, and I won't be doing this next week. So I'll do it the following week, but not next week, because my wife puts up with more BS of me doing all this stuff that when it's her birthday, everything shuts down. So I hope you all understand that, and I hope when your spouse has a birthday that you make it a high priority, because of me, or because the way that it works for me is without her and without her support, none of this happens. Nothing happens. We're done. So I won't see you next week, but I'll see you the week after. Thanks for watching.